am Francesca James, for those of you who do not know me. I'm a licensed spiritual counselor. And as such, that means that I get to sit across from people when they come and they want to change things in their lives, when they have pain and suffering or just want to do things differently. And it is my joy and my pleasure and my responsibility to sit and know that whatever their situation is, there's nothing wrong. That there's just something greater that's trying to be birthed as their lives. That is an awesome place for me to be able to sit in on behalf of other people and to watch their lives transform and change and become something really wonderful. I've been licensed as a counselor since 1991, and over those years, I've come to realize that everyone, every single one of those people that has sat across from me has some woundedness, some hurt feelings, some fear, some anxiety that started with them in their childhood. It has really nothing to do with the situation that they're in. It's something that's operating deeper in them that started in their childhood. And I used to ask God, why is everyone wounded? Why does everyone have pain? Why is everyone trying to transform something that happened to them unconsciously from childhood? And I came to understand that it's just really part of the human experience. It's what being human is. It's the way we unfold, because we're here as humans to evolve into something greater, and that's the trigger. That painful place is the trigger that helps us to move higher into something greater. And about 3 years ago, I started having clients that consisted almost primarily of couples or young women. I say young women, women in their 20s and 30s, younger than me. Young women who wanted to either leave a relationship that wasn't serving them or transform what was going on inside of a relationship or start a new relationship. And then I would ask God, why are all these couples coming to me? Why is it all about relationship? And now, today, I know why. Because I've come to understand that we don't relate to each other correctly. Because when I do counseling, I have to be in a place of listening so that I'm not speaking from my own wounds and my own pain and my own memory, trying to facilitate someone else, but I'm listening to something that's higher than me, that's telling me what question to ask and what statement and how to trigger someone differently. So in that listening process, I've learned a lot myself about how to relate, because I've made huge mistakes in relationships myself. What I understand is there is an innate nature that is man. There is an innate nature that is woman. We're not identical. There is a difference. And I believe, and what I understand is, if you are born in a female body, there's a larger part of you that's feminine energy. If you're born in a male body, typically there's a larger part of you that's masculine energy. But they both reside inside of us. And it's not 50-50, and it's different for every person. But as a woman, myself personally, I have operated a lot in masculine energy. Out in that workplace, I was very successful, masculine energy. And I took that into my home, and it affected my relationships. And so I've come to understand for myself, and through these people that I've been counseling, that as women, we are by nature, essentially, innately compassionate, loving, creative, nurturing people. Now, how do we know that? Because every one of you came through the womb of a woman where you were loved and nurtured innately, intuitively, not by her, but by something that was going on inside of her that fed you, that knew how to nurture you and to bring you forth. That's your nature. It's your DNA. It's what's in you. Man's nature is competitive and direction-oriented and driven. How do we know that? Because how did we come to be? There's an egg sitting idly, attracting, just being present, being. And there are millions of masculine energy sperm cells coming toward her, competing with each other, driven toward her because she's attracting them in. That's your DNA. That's who we are. And so listening to all of this that's been fed to me and spitting this forth with my clients and watching their lives transform has been transformational for me as well. So I'm going to ask you to indulge me for a minute and bring to mind, your mind, a newborn baby, an infant, and see its eyes and see how it looks at you with pure innocence, untainted, pure being. That's the essence that lives inside of every human being, every one of us. That's what we are. And it is looking at you unconditionally loving, not knowing your personality, not knowing how intelligent you are, not connected to your ego. Just pure essence, pure love. And it is looking for that to be reflected back to it. But what happens is we have these ideas and thoughts and memories that have come to us over our lifetime that says, you should look this way, you should talk this way, you should dress this way, you should act this way, and we start to inundate that innocent being, and then it takes on that pain and that wound also. And then 40 years later, they're sitting across from me with the wounds, and I'm taking them back to the purity. And so that's the space that I want us to be in here today. Remember that innocence of the child and know that that's the innocence that's sitting next to you, in front of you, behind you, that's standing right here in front of you. It never goes away. It's still here. Because every one of you in this room wants to love and be loved. If there's anybody that doesn't, raise your hand. I know that's the place that we all are. And so, in relationship, and that's not necessarily romantic relationships. That's a relationship with a parent, your child, that person at work, that person that you pass on the street. In relationships, if we could just remember the heart space. Remember that all any of us wants is to receive love and to give love. If we can communicate from that place, we can shift situations. How do I know that? Because when people are sitting across from me in pain, I'm sitting in a place of love, not tied into their pain. I'm sitting in a place of love. I am the container for the shift that they are attempting to make, and I watch them shift. I watch them shift because I stood knowing their shift, which helps them, even when they're in the depth of pain, to know the shift too, because somehow they feel it. Somehow it ignites something in them. So if that can be true in that situation, that can be true in all situations.